Hello everybody, welcome to this channel, Stepping into Light. My name is Jason, and in this video, being the first video on this new channel of mine, I'm going to be, just sharing somewhat of an introduction to this channel, what I'm all about, what this channel is going to be all about, the kind of content I'm going to be putting out, hopefully, from here on out in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead. So I'm not actually new to making videos, recording videos. I've made quite a few videos in the past. I really enjoy it. Due to certain circumstances and reasons, including past couple of years struggling with a chronic condition, essentially a chronic disease, I'm finally healing from, which is really awesome after so long, as anyone who's dealt or is dealing with physical chronic disease well knows. It's quite a struggle, but there's always healing available, and anyway, that's part of the circumstances of, the recent months, quite a few months now, that have kept me from being able or motivated to make videos. And now that I'm back to making videos, I'm going to be, focusing on a whole new subject matter, I suppose, than I used to back in the day. So if you're watching this on BitChute or 3Speak on the Hive platform, I'll still be on my old original channels that I have on there. But I'm not going to be so much focusing on the sort of content I did back in the day, before circumstances kind of interrupted my blogging and I'm also a writer, so blogging and video creation that I used to do. So anyway, why I'm here, I feel very led and called, like a deep inner calling to start making videos again, now that I've reached a place where I'm once again motivated and able, mentally and physically, to be able to do so. Feel very called. I've been putting off making this first video for quite a few days now, but I guess the weather here where I'm at in northern New Mexico and the pressure building within me, it's like, it's time to do this, you need to do this. Well, the weather outside here is cold, windy as can be, and a bit snowy, so it's a perfect day to be inside recording this video in front of a warm wood stove, inside, out of the wind and cold. So here I am. Can't put it off any longer. The calling is too strong. I've got to do it, so here I am. So that's why I'm here. What am I going to be talking about, I guess, is what kind of content am I going to be focusing on? Spirituality, for sure. Spiritual journey that I've been on. Kind of lessons and knowledge that I've learned through my own direct experience. I'm all about empowerment, the ideas, the practices, the concepts that I've learned that have helped empowered me, the knowledge I've gained that have been empowering to me, I want to share, so that to those who may resonate with it will also be empowered and healed, as I've been healed in so many ways, inside and out. So yeah, empowerment, healing, inner healing, physical healing, alternative healing of all sorts, of all types, of all methods, healing power of music, something I've really learned throughout this chronic struggle with this physical chronic illness. I've learned firsthand the healing power of music, intuition, tapping into intuition, the healing power of intuition, the healing power of faith, awakening, the awakening journey that we're all on. We're in a collective mass awakening. At least from my perspective, it's undeniable. And of course, this collective mass awakening that humanity is going through is really just a whole bunch of individual awakenings. When there's enough individuals awakening, it creates a mass collective awakening of which essentially, as the channel name implies, stepping out of the darkness and into the light. At least from my experience and experience of many people I've come into contact with, that's what awakening is all about. It's about stepping out of the darkness and into the light. And so that's really central of what I'm about and why I'm here. And since I'm going to be speaking a lot from my own experience and what I've learned along through direct experience, which I think is the best way to determine truth, is by experiencing it for oneself. Even if something may be true, until you actually experience that truth directly in your own personal experience, it's not really integrated as being your truth, my truth, until we experience it. And so I'm going to be sharing a lot of stories and lessons and knowledge I've learned directly through my own experience. And in light of that, to give you, I guess, a deeper insight into some of the subject matter and content I'll be putting out, I'll share a little bit of my background and the experiences that brought me here. So I grew up, well, right now I'm in my mid-30s. I grew up most of my childhood years most of my childhood years that I can remember in Africa, East Africa, Kenya and Tanzania. And because of that, my worldview was definitely shaped in a very different way than I think the worldview of most Westerners. So I think I have quite a unique worldview based in large part, definitely because of having grown up in a third world developing nation in Africa. I was also raised in a loving Christian home environment, but very fundamentalist, fundamentalist evangelical branch of Christianity, shall we say. Church, home, the whole environment was, this fundamentalism. And I'm grateful for the experience, but certain doctrines, certain beliefs that were instilled into me, into my psyche from as young as I can possibly remember in my early childhood years were, for me, and I know many others, maybe perhaps not everyone, but very deeply traumatizing to me. Particularly the belief that as a young, innocent child, I was born a sinner, and I was a sinner, and that was my identity, and I deserved to burn in hell forever. But God loves you, and there's a way, despite being a wretched sinner, to be saved from the consequences of sin. And, well, yeah, that deeply traumatized me. And by the time I was 18, I was really wrestling with my faith. I was quite devout Christian. Had a very, in my younger years anyway, I had a very strong connection with Jesus, I felt like, Yeshua. But the more the church teachings were instilled into my mind, the more I guess I lost that really deep connection with Jesus. And so by my early adult years, I was not resonating with a lot of the religion I once held so dear to my heart, and I just eventually left the church like so many of us have, and I'm sure, unlike many, but also like many others, I threw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. I left it all. I didn't just leave my church and I didn't just leave evangelical Christianity. I left the whole religion, all of it, the teachings of Jesus that I later come back to. Jesus, God, everything. I threw it all out. Kind of felt like a take it or leave it scenario to me, based on how I'd been brought up and the environment I was brought up. So I left it because I wasn't gonna. There was too much of what I couldn't take at that point in my life. It just didn't make sense. Didn't feel like truth. There were too many logical fallacies to my mind, and I left it and went the way of the world, seeking happiness and love and truth. Very much a truth seeker from my youngest years, but looking in all the wrong places. But still, some good years of learning, lots of good experiences, lots of learning in those years. And I guess when I was right, when the time was right, when I was ready, I was called back to the teachings of Jesus. And I guess you could say I heard the voice of God. That's how I would have described it at the time. It was definitely divine guidance, a voice, not an audible voice to my physical ears, but it was a very clear voice. What it said was unmistakable and undeniable, and it was not me, it was not my mind. So I was like, this must be God, and whatever that divine guidance was saying to me, it said some very specific things, essentially, that would soon come to pass in my life. And I thought it all a bit crazy, but I couldn't forget the experience. It was pretty profound. I'd never heard a voice like that before within myself. And sure enough, within about a month's time, whatever it said was going to happen happened in a way that was undeniable to me, and also seemingly impossible the way it happened. Needless to say, I took note of that voice because I was like, well, it either has some intimate foreknowledge of my immediate future, or it somehow had the power to make this experience come to pass that was, really largely out of my control. So I better listen to this voice, because it knows more and has more power than I do, or both, one or the other, or both. But at the time I was rather clueless. I just knew there's something about this, and I better listen, because it knows more about me than I do, and it perhaps has power to guide my life in a way that will be very beneficial to me and help lead me in a good direction, where I will actually really want to be going into more truth. And from there, that voice, inner voice, essentially led me to the teachings of Jesus, and this time free of all of the dogmas and church doctrines surrounding them that can tend to cloud the plain meanings of those incredibly powerful and empowering teachings of truth. And the teachings of Jesus, of Yeshua, of the great Master, have been the foundation of my spiritual journey from that day forward. I think definitely the man we call Jesus was the greatest and most powerful spiritual master to have ever walked the earth, and I think his teachings hold a lot of keys to a lot of the deep questions that we ask, and keys to escaping our suffering and living happier, more fulfilling lives, and also with peace, gaining peace and joy. And that led me to a long process of deconstructing my former, I guess, the fundamentalist, institutionalized version of religion that I had been taught growing up. Had to deconstruct all of that in the process. And I know a lot of people go through this, are going through this, have gone through this deconstruction process, because a lot of people are no longer resonating with these disempowering beliefs and doctrines that, to my mind anyhow, and many others I know, are not in alignment with the teachings of Jesus, nor the spirit of love that he embodied so beautifully and perfectly in his life, his ministry, his teachings. So that was a tough process, but amazing process. And then from there I began to find a lot of inner healing to a lot of these traumas, inner trauma that I had no idea had happened. I had no idea I had been traumatized by these beliefs until I began to deconstruct them, and through the teachings of Jesus I was led more into a connection with God within, Christ within, is within all of us. The divine light that is in all of us and connects all of us as one. So, next main point along my journey, I guess I had a pretty profound awakening experience, and from there, it's just been a long, beautiful, often dark, and filled with lots of light as well, awakening experience. And I know a lot of people are, I know it can be difficult, awakening can be difficult, and it happens differently for everyone, but it's also has the similarities and the commonalities shared in all of them, I think. And for me, I had that one pretty profound awakening, so to speak, but it's not like that was the end. I've been awakening ever since, more and more, awakening out of fear and into love, into oneness. Ever since then, it has never ended, and I've had, several pretty powerful awakening experiences. That may have been definitely the first, was also the most powerful in a sense, because it shifted my worldview in such a way, so profoundly I could never see the world the same again. And not too long after that initial awakening experience, I had a very transcendent, spiritually transformative experience in a meditation one day, in which I experienced for myself directly the truth that we're all one, we're all light, we're all connected, and oneness became a reality for me. It was no longer an intellectual idea based on some Eastern teachings I had been led to. It was now a reality that I had experienced. It was now truth in my life, and I could begin to integrate it into my life. And I also saw in that experience how time and linear time, anyhow, and space essentially are both illusions of the mind. And we exist outside of time and space and matter. We're incredibly powerful beings of light, and there are powers that be, forces upon this earth, I would call forces of darkness, who are very invested in keeping us, let's say, cut off from our true power. And so yeah, I'm sure going to be talking a lot about this sort of thing, awakening, various awakenings, drawing upon my own experiences, which I'll be sharing in future videos, deconstruction of fundamentalist Christianity, fundamentalism, how the teachings of Jesus have brought me so much more peace and joy, and brought me out of such deep darkness, brought about such healing, brought me to a place of being far more empowered, uh, far more reliant upon my own inner guidance, divine guidance, which has led me to be able to have much more faith, and through that learn the power of faith, power of surrender. I took a big leap of faith. I guess it was about 5 years ago now, 2019, right before the COVID deal. I sold all my business. I had a lawn care landscape business in Bozeman, Montana, where I spent the first 12 or so years of my adult life after I graduated high school and moved back to the States from Africa. And pretty much sold also all of my personal belongings as well that didn't fit in the back of my Subaru, and I bought a camping setup, essentially, a wood stove, a canvas yurt type tent, so I could have a wood stove in it, little solar setup, solar panel, batteries and all that, so I could have electricity. And I began to embark on this journey of faith. I had no plan other than I'm gonna see where life takes me, and I did my best to follow my own inner guidance and surrender into the flow of life, and began living the camping lifestyle, traveling the West, typically going south in the winters and north in the summers. The climate was easier to live year-round, camping that way. And I also got to see much of the country that I had not seen at that point, and learned so much about faith and surrendering to the flow of life and synchronicity and the way divine guidance works, the power of intuition, all that, so much from that journey. And I'm no longer camping at the moment. That journey eventually led me to pretty much my dream property where I'm at now. All these stories I hope to someday soon put into videos one by one, because I think they will be able to help people, and especially the lessons I've learned through them. And here I am, and yeah, coming out of a dark period of my life for sure, with the chronic physical illness I've been struggling with and now healing from. So I think that pretty much covers enough of my background and what I'm about and what I'm going to be focusing on here. What I feel led to be sharing on this channel. So yeah, I invite you to join me in my own unique perspective journey of stepping into light, out of the darkness and into the light. So much of the darkness that we humans walk through, I think we create or we perpetuate for far longer than we need to. And if I can, help people move through and past and out of that darkness and into the light quicker, then that's why I'm here. I want to help people with the knowledge and everything I've learned that's helped me in so many different ways. I just want to share that. Hopefully it can help others in other ways, and in the ways that it's helped me. So I invite you to join me on this journey of stepping into light that we collectively as the human race are doing right now. We're stepping into the light of a new day, a new dawn of a new age, out of the darkness of an old age of perpetual violence and hatred and all the darkness we see on the world stage, slavery of various forms. All of this darkness we're finally being forced to face, and as we do, we can heal and we can step into the light. And that's what I see humanity collectively struggling to do, and it can be quite a struggle, especially when one is completely clueless as to what's actually going on and what are the deeper, reasons for this. But we'll see how I can be of service in this way, sharing, my unique perspectives of truth and the lessons and spiritual practices and various knowledge that I've gained along the way that have been extremely helpful to me, and I hope this channel will be extremely helpful to those who are drawn to it. I trust and know that it will. And with that being said, all the links to all of my content, all my blogs, my various platforms that I am posting, will be posting videos on, in the links in the description. Feel free to follow me on any of those platforms, social media platforms. I also write. I'm a writer, so I've got blogs and platforms I'll be posting videos to now, and links will be in the description below. If you think this is the kind of thing that interests you, then please do feel free to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more upcoming videos. Until next time, this has been Jason. Hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day.